It's a chilly morning in Middletown, and as we walk the streets, we are meeting with someone whose voice has become familiar to our community. He's a dad, he's an advocate, and now a public figure. His name is Fidel, and he was one of the first ones to speak for Mimi Torres, whose tragic death has crossed Connecticut borders. He's gonna tell us more about why he started a petition to make changes in the homeschooling system and DCF. Thank you so much for joining me today. Tell me about how did you first start getting involved in Mimi's case?
So one of my posts went viral, and from there I had a few people that were close to the case reach out to me and ask me to help get messages out. And by God's grace, every time I put it out, it just kept going viral. And I begged God, I said, please allow me to be a vessel of truth. And since then, He's allowed for me to put the truth out there and to get these stories told for people who may not have as loud as my voice or as big as a platform.
A lot of the media outlets have reached out to you after verifying that the information that you were saying was true. Tell me, how did it make you feel?
It just felt good to know that what I was doing was the right work. You know, I won't lie and say I didn't misstep sometimes, but I've always been responsible enough to say what was verified and what I couldn't verify. So just to have the media come out and prove these people wrong, because I was under attack, you know what I mean? But just to have them prove these people wrong, it felt good. And not only, again, not for my own ego, but just so that these people can learn something from it too. Not to be so quick to rush to judgment, not to be so doubtful until you have all the facts.
How did you first get involved with Mimi's family, and how did you build that relationship with them so that they can trust you to give you information?
But they do appreciate some of the work that I've been doing. And since then, I've been in touch with other members besides Victor that have really given me their support and their blessing.
I'm not sure if you are more in a rapport with the maternal or the paternal family. Who is more willing to give you information?
Oh, absolutely the paternal family. In fact, the maternal family is a bit upset with me right now for some of the facts that I put out there, but they are facts. And they've been verified by very reliable sources. But the father's family has been incredibly graceful. They've been very, very welcoming, very loving. I can't wait to meet them.
Carla and also Jonathan, where did they work? Did they have any job? What was their life?
So, according to the inside sources that I've had, they really weren't productive people at all. You know, Carla's been homeless and struggled financially. They looked for, asked for a lot of help and handouts. Jacqueline as well. I've seen text messages. I've seen a lot of different things that paint a picture of her that isn't favorable to her. I don't think. I think these people were just more focused on drinking and getting high and doing anything rather than especially be mothers, but let alone productive members of society.
How about the family? Because a lot of people are also talking about the family. But where was the family all this whole year that passed? And they never talked about or asked the Mimi, apparently. What did they say?
The father's family was cut off. And I myself, as a father that's fought for custody of my children, I understand what that's like. I've had, you know, I don't want to bash my family, but there's been similar circumstances that didn't allow my family access to my children on different occasions. We're not in that space anymore, but I understand how that is. So the father's side, they did reach out. I've seen proof of them contacting DCL. I've seen proof of them contacting the school. I've seen their efforts. The mother's side, not too familiar with them, but I will say that they had more access and they had more opportunity to reach this child, and the fact that they failed to do so, that does speak highly in my opinion.
You are one of the first advocates of Mimi that came out to the public. Now you are a public figure. You came out of the corner of the internet. And how does it make you feel? And why did you start this petition, Mimi's Law?
You know, I have to give credit to the woman who put the idea out there. I don't recall her name, but when she watches this, she'll know who she is. There was somebody that stated that, well, I disagreed. She said, you know, change has to come, and of course I agree with that. And that's when I started jotting down different ideas of ways to ensure that what happened to me never happens to anyone else. So I just started a change.org petition. I mean, it's free. Anybody can start a petition about anything. So I put it out there and it picked up steam, and then change.org got behind it. The family did. And it's just, I started 2-3 days ago. In the last 3 days, I've been in talk with politicians and all these different lawmakers that really want to put it into effect. And man, I would never have thought that it would blow up the way that it did, but I'm extremely grateful that it has.
Tell me a little bit, explain to me, what is Mimi's law and which politicians are supporting this cause?
I'm a bit hesitant to name the politicians because there is pushback from the homeschooling community and from different people, but what we're asking for essentially is periodic check-ins for kids that are homeschooled, just to ensure that they're safe and that any abuse cannot be hidden through homeschooling. We're asking for DCF accountability. In fact, I would really like to elaborate on that and ask for DCF reform. But we are asking for them to be held accountable, for them to wear body cams when speaking to these families, for there to be a better record of what's going on. So that's one of the things we're asking for. We're also asking for the end of parental alienation. A lot of times, the custodial parent will cut off the other parent and their family, and that's not right. That's not only damaging to the child, but that causes and helps situations like this prosper. We don't want people with child abuse and charges that they've been convicted for, not just allegations, but charges they've been convicted of, to be able to parole to homes with children in them. Because that a lot of the abuse came from the aunt as well, and that's evident by her charges in relation to the case. So
I know that you said that a lot of these politicians that are supporting this cause don't want to come out yet because there's a lot of pushing from other groups. But can you tell me, are they from the state or the local authorities? Are they only from New Britain, the ones that are the group that are supporting these? Who are these people?
I would like to give them time to respond. Again, this petition's only been up for 3 days, and some of the emails that I sent out were only sent out yesterday. But it's wild because a lot of the support is coming from outside of New Britain right now, currently. But I'm also not from New Britain, so a lot of the people that I had access to were in Bridgeport and New Haven, and that's really where I'm getting a lot of support from right now. There's different outlets like Bridgeport Stronger Together that are helping me get in touch with these people. But because I'm not based in New Britain, I don't really have any connections. But I have reached out to people like Aaron Stewart. I've reached out to Governor Ned Lamont, and I'm hoping to see this be not only statewide but nationwide. Essentially, we would like for these type of bills and law. We would like Niños law to be across the country.
What have you heard from the community?
Oh my God, I've heard horror stories. I've heard terrible things, and it's been heartbreaking to read some of these stories. In fact, I couldn't even read some of these stories. Even when I first got the info about Mimi, I couldn't finish reading it. I had to sleep on it. I had to pray to God. I had to seek guidance because I know these things to be true. It's been documented for so long from Gabriel Fernandez and cases like his where DCF let these families down. So I've been hearing from so many different people. I've even created a post that it was an outlet for people to tell their stories.
Now, going back to Mimi's family, how are they feeling right now? What are they seeking?
Unfortunately, because this case is playing out in public, there's been so much scrutiny, there's been so much criticism, there's been so much hate and slander sent their way. Right now, they're in a place of grieving. They don't even have time to deal with all of this, which is why, a part of me doesn't want to speak for them, but a part of me knows that they're focused on burying Mimi right now. They're focused on seeking justice. The father is fighting for custody of his other child. They have other children that are involved. Some of the kids are being bullied at school because of this case being in the public eye. They're dealing with so much right now, and that's part of the reason I want to help as well.
What would be your message to anyone that wants to be part of Mimi Law? And how many signatures so far?
Last I checked was yesterday. In 3 days, or 2 days, yesterday was the second day, we got over 8,000 signatures. So hopefully today, with media outlets like yours, that we can continue to push this message, we can continue to reach more people. If I had a message for anybody, it would just be the law. What I've drafted is not finalized. If you can help me draft something better, and that's one of the reasons some of these lawmakers as well haven't publicly supported it yet, because we want to get a better version, more concise version, something that really reflects how everyone feels, something that doesn't put other children in danger or jeopardize, people that are doing the right thing. It's been a focus on homeschooling, which homeschooling was part of the problem, but in my honest opinion, DCF is really what needs to be addressed. So right now, I would just ask that anybody that's watching this or that has any insight or knowledge that would help improve on this bill that we're asking to pass, we have until February to really put it in front of the lawmakers.
Ang Mari Carmen Cajawaringa with Boseto Media. Stay tuned for more stories that matter to our community. Remember to support independent journalism by liking, sharing, and following. See you around the state.